Hello, and thank you for joining us today. As businesses expand into new countries and across new sales channels in the effort to grow their sales, that leaves the ops team with the challenge of having to scale their fulfillment and delivery to support that multi channel global growth. And the same applies whether you are the ops team as part of a online retailer or whether you're the ops team who in a 3PL that provide those services to retailers. And that's what today is all about. So thank you for joining us. But before we get on to why we're here, let's first do the intros, get the intros out of the way. Luke, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Bobby. So I'm Luke. I work for the Access Group, and I'm the product manager for Mintsoft, which is our order management and fulfillment system. So excited to be here today.
Brilliant. Thanks, Luke. And my name's Bobby Toulis. That's me looking very wintry in the background with my daughter. I'm not actually growing a head off my shoulder. And I'm the Group Marketing Director for Global Freight Solutions. Okay, so let me just tell you a little bit about GFS. GFS, we provide managed multi-carrier services. Established back in 2001. Our whole reason for being is that our job is to help online retailers and 3PLs simplify multi-carrier management so they can maximize customer delivery experience and operational efficiency. We provide not only the technology, multi-carrier technology to enable that, but also through us, we provide 1,000+ shipping services across 220 destinations, UK, EU, rest of the world. We can give you access to the widest network of click and collect services, global returns drop-off points, and under our care, we manage almost 50 million parcels a year. So we're all about getting your parcels from checkout to doorstep anywhere in the world and back again.
So I'll introduce Mintsoft to you guys now. So we're an order management system. So we support over 600 3PLs, warehouse and online retailers. And the idea behind Mintsoft is we take the pressure out of scaling your business by automating your order fulfillment across your sales channels, providing real-time updates on your orders, inventory and shipment. We can optimize your warehouse processes to maximize your productivity. The system comes with over 150 pre-built integrations to all major e-commerce platforms, shopping carts and couriers. It's heavily supported by both myself and an incredible support team who are all trained up to be industry specialists.
Thank you, Luke. That's great. So with the introductions out of the way, let's look at what we're going to be covering. So we'll start off by looking at what are the 3 challenges and risks impacting e-commerce fulfillment and delivery today. So that sets a bit of context. Then we're going to move into the live demo where we want to show you how you can bring together the technology and the physical multi-carrier services to help address some of those challenges. After the demo, we're going to summarize what some of the key takeaways were and leave you with some pointers of what you should be looking for in a solution. And then we'll have some Q&A, but don't go after the Q&A. Please hang around because we are going to be sharing with you an exclusive offer that we have only for webinar for you guys watching the webinar today.
So let's start with talking through the top 3 challenges and risks that are impacting the e-commerce fulfillment and delivery sector today. So let's have a look at the first one, if you won't mind moving us on, Bobby. Thank you. So quite a big one, I'm sure you guys are all aware of. Consumer expectations are changing so fast these days. Our consumers are wanting more flexibility than ever in terms of how, where, and what they buy online. The end-to-end customer experience is a #1 brand differentiator here. So what we're actually seeing is that the people capable of giving the smoothest process are the guys that are taking home the higher slice of revenue at the end of the day. Quick's no longer enough either. It's all about accuracy these days. Obviously, the last thing you want is to be sending orders out and then finding that you've got a high level of returns because the wrong stock has been dispatched at the wrong time to the wrong people. So what you really need is a system that's not only going to optimize your processes, but it's also going to give you that traceability to make sure that you've got a really locked down process for your customers. The real key takeaway for this one is speed and accuracy is a given, but customers are expecting and demanding a delivery choice and a convenience of service as well. It's got to be an end-to-end process.
Absolutely. So if you were thinking that when customers get to the checkout and they look at the cost of the goods in their basket, that's one of the biggest reasons for cart abandonment, then think again, because actually the biggest deal breaker for online shoppers, at least according to internet retailing, is delivery. So recent research says that 65% of the consumers that were surveyed said they wouldn't order from a marketplace if they didn't find a convenient delivery option. 81% said that convenience is the biggest factor for choosing to shop online rather than going into the shops. And that was followed by pricing and access to a wide product range. So it is all about delivery choice and convenience. And 40% would even refuse to buy from websites that didn't offer fast delivery. But speed also trumps the cost of delivery for consumers, with just 28% saying free delivery is essential for them to place an order. So it's not just about free, it's about choice and convenience and finding the delivery option that best suits them at that moment in time, because our circumstances change, right? So the key takeaway for operations is speed and accuracy of fulfillment is a given, but customers expect and demand delivery choice and convenience as well, as Luke quite rightly said.
There's some great data there, Bobby, and it does bring us on to the next point here, and that's just the volatility of the market at the moment. So we're all feeling the pressure a little bit: rising inflation, cost of living increases, and just an uncertain economic outlook at the moment is really affecting online spend and the number of returns. Some easy figures to support this. At 9.1%, UK inflation is currently at a 40-year high, so that's from May this year, and as recent as June, we're actually seeing that the UK Consumer Confidence Index is showing at -40. So the key takeaway from this slide really is that planning and forecasting delivery requirements is more difficult than ever. We really need to build flexibility and contingency into the final mile to make sure that our customers are getting the service and we're getting the revenue.
And hopefully that's something that we did learn also from coming through COVID. The businesses that survived and thrived during lockdown were those that were able to quickly pivot their operations, build the flexibility and contingency in their business to be able to fulfill demand.
And it's that scalability, Bobby, isn't it? When
Yeah,
you're talking around that, it's the guys who are
absolutely.
able to respond quickly that were really able to maximise what was a very bad situation for everybody. But we saw a lot of growth in the sector because of that.
Absolutely, Luke. And this brings us on to number 3, operational complexity and cost. There's actually another word that I would put at the top there, and that's uncertainty. So what's behind that? What is this context that we find ourselves in? Well, from an operational perspective, it's tough to find labor, whether that is skilled HGV drivers or that staff to man up during peak. And we saw that all play out last year. We all saw in the headlines the headlines about shortages in class 1 lorry drivers, the cost of labor going up. So what that means is that today it's much harder and more costly to not only hire, but also to retain staff. Brexit, regardless of what your political stance was on that, Europe is still our biggest trading partner and the biggest e-commerce market that we sell to. But post-Brexit, today, there's a huge amount of red tape to get through when trying to get parcels in and out of Europe. Also, much higher customs handling costs charges because parcels need to go through more procedures for clearance. And that makes EU shipments not only more expensive, but also really difficult. And it's fine for businesses quite naturally to be looking beyond EU and finding new countries outside of the EU, new channels, because we still have to find that growth. But that adds even more operational pressure and complexity to fulfillment and delivery. Add to that, as you've just described, Luke, the cost of living, rising fuel costs specifically, that translates into more fuel charges, unpredictable fuel charges, which again just add to the cost of shipping, making shipping costs significantly higher, but also harder to control. We know that delivery is really vital for the consumer and that your customers do expect delivery choice and convenience, but even so, adding more carriers and services requires IT resource and a lot more effort to manage. So the key takeaway from this is that optimizing and scaling fulfillment and delivery is vital for your budget control, but also your customer satisfaction. So that's the context that we find ourselves in. However, it's not all doom and gloom, and that's certainly not what we wanted to put across today. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and that brings us nicely on to the next part, which is the demo. So what you're going to see now is how, by bringing together Mintsoft and GFS technology and physical multi-carrier services, this may offer you a potential solution to be able to scale fulfillment and delivery to enable that multi-channel international growth.
We're going to walk through the journey of a customer placing an order online using GFS checkout to control the available delivery options, plus our duties and taxes calculator. We'll then see our GFS selector integration, which you can integrate with from your OMS, WMS system for the creation of your shipping labels. This could be from your own OMS, WMS system if you are a retailer and fulfilling your orders yourself, or it could be from your fulfillment partners, 3PL system, fulfilling your orders for you. For the purposes of this demonstration, Selector will be called via the Mintsoft system, who have an existing integration with us via API and are one of GFS's channel partners. We'll see as part of this dispatch process, the system produce a carrier compliant label along with an electronic customs declaration for the shipments. So for the purposes of today, we have our online shop called Style. As you can see, it sells a range of furniture, lighting and other household accessories for decorating the home. This is actually a Magento store, but could just quite as easily be any of the other popular e-commerce platforms that retailers are using today, such as WooCommerce or Visualsoft, for example. Our checkout product can integrate with all of these platforms. So let's start shopping. I'm going to add 2 items to my basket, a coffee cup and a clock, and move through to the checkout page. Once I've moved through to the checkout page, it's asking me to enter my contact details and address details, which I'll just do quickly now, the same as any checkout page would ask a customer to complete. Once these details have been entered, this is where GFS Checkout integrates with your e-commerce platform. This is now checkout displaying the relevant delivery options available for this order. We can see here there's a good variety of delivery options available to the customer, which gives your customer a greater chance to find the delivery option which is convenient to them. So we've got our standard delivery option, generally the slowest and cheapest delivery option, also displaying the shipping cost and the delivery expectation. We have our calendar option, which allows a date to be selected. This could be a next working day, nominated day, or a time delivery service, which is extremely useful when customers know they will only be at home on certain days. And we've got our collect your order option. These could be carrier pickup shops, DPD and Every, for example, or a retailer's click and collect store option, meaning your customers could collect their order on the way home from the office. What we'll do for the purposes of this domestic shipment to Manchester is we'll select the bog standard delivery option, move through the process and place our order. GFS checkout is not just for domestic shipments. It can also be used for international shipments to all non-domestic locations, for example, the EU and rest of the world. Let's do a French order. We'll add the same items to the basket. We'll add the clock, and then we'll move back to the home page and add that same coffee cup. Now we've got those in our basket, we'll move through to the checkout page, where we'll add communication details and our address details for our addressing. We'll then change our delivery country to be France, enter our postcode, and select our address. So for non-domestic shipments, for example, in this scenario to France, this is also where our duties and taxes calculator integration can be used. You'll see once the delivery address has been entered, checkout will return all of the available delivery options for this particular order and delivery location, giving this French customer a wide array of delivery options to suit their needs. We've got our standard delivery option, which has an economy and a plus option, along with the relevant delivery costs and delivery expectations. We've again got our calendar option. This would generally be through DHL Express, who offer a quick, expedited service to international destinations, but it's a great option to be able to have to offer to customers. And we've got our collect your order option. These can be international carrier pickup shops where available, or a retailer's international click and collect store option. Very importantly, to go with GFS checkout, this is where our duties and taxes calculator integration comes in. If you look here, you can see any relevant duties and taxes applicable to the shipment. If this order was for a delivery to the US, there could be additional information displayed here calculating local state taxes, for example, providing as much detail as possible to the customer. This particular site is set up to include the duties and taxes in with the shipping cost, i.e., for example, we're showing a DDP, DTP, delivery tax paid scenario. Our duties and taxes calculator also gives the retailer the option to not only include duties up front and to show duty unpaid shipping rules, which means that your customer would then be asked to pay duties on receipt of their parcel. Whether you decide to present duty paid or duty unpaid shipping prices to your customers, it's always best from a customer experience perspective to be transparent and let the customer know what duties they will be paying so they don't get any hidden surprises. We've partnered with a company called Avalara for the duties and taxes engine. It is a separate integration than the GFS checkout integration and transmit via an API the relevant customs details. So HS codes, countries of manufacture, along with all of the relevant basket details to the Avalara engine, which then returns the calculation, which you can see displayed on screen here. So for this scenario here, this order we've placed to go to France, we'll select our option, complete the checkout process and place our order. Once the orders have been placed via your e-commerce platform or via marketplaces, these orders move through to your OMS or WMS system or your 3PL's OMS or WMS system. I'll now hand over to Luke, who'll run through the Mintsoft seamless pick and pack process, along with dispatching the orders and the creation of the shipping labels.
Thanks, Phil. That was a great overview. So let's have a look at the system within Mintsoft. So Mintsoft is an OMS and WMS piece of software. It's capable of managing orders from multiple channels, summing them together into batched picks, allowing you the most efficient pick and dispatch process possible. As you can see, when we log into Mintsoft, we can already see that the 2 new orders that have been created by Phil have synced into the system. These have come over from Magento, but you can very easily connect multiple e-commerce stores to Mintsoft just using easily obtainable API keys or your username and password login details. Setting up new connections is as easy as coming to the Connect menu, clicking into your order integrations, and picking the company you'd like to work with. Once the orders have come into the system, you'll see that they actually appear within the order overview and are ready to be worked with. This isn't all the integration to e-commerce can do within Mintsoft though. If I come over to the product page, you can see that we've actually synced over the products from Magento along with their images. This has come over with any of the product information like the weight and dimensions that may be required by shipping. We can also very easily see how many we've got in stock ready to be worked with. So let's follow a couple of the orders through the process. From our orders overview, we can see that we've got the 2 orders that have been created by Phil. And we can see that they've come over and they've actually mapped the courier service selected as part of the GFS checkout process. There's no further logic needed within Mintsoft when you're working with GFS. As long as your customer selects the service that they need, those details can be mapped to pull over into the system. Mintsoft supports several different pick methods. The easiest and simplest is a paper-based pick method. From the action button here, we can click in to preview the dispatch note, which will show us the details required, the locations of the products. You can then take this out into your warehouse then to pick and prepare the order. We also offer a batching system which will let you pull multiple orders together, and these can be assigned out to a mobile scanner for barcode verification. This is available through our picking and packing menu, into manage batches. As we create a new batch, the system will automatically look for any new orders that it wants to pull through. We can create and see that we've got 2 orders now on the system ready to be batched together. We can come over to our mobile tab and we can assign a multitude of different picking types then, and we can send it out to a particular user to complete the pick in the warehouse. Mintsoft supports bulk picking types, including a bulk paperless if you want to cut down on your waste. We support 1 label per pick, so this is for large items where you would immediately want to print a courier label and slap it onto the box. We support FlexiPick. This is very useful if you've got stock that doesn't have barcodes that you might need to manually select. Then we also support tote picks. So standard is a single tote pick. We also have multi-tote trolleys and then multi-tote multi-order. So if you were running a lot of miniature batch picks, for example, miniature bulk picks. Once the user's picked and confirmed the order and the stock has been pulled over ready to be packed, we then need to go through the packing process within Mintsoft and the label generation. There's a couple of different ways of getting into the system. Typically, you come in through picking and packing, and then you'd either select your order or you'd select your batch. From here, you can either scan a barcode that is presented on all Mintsoft documentation, which will instantly load the order up ready to be worked with, or you can manually type in the order number. So from our overview, if we grab an order number out of here, let's work with the French order that Phil sent over to us. So we'll grab out our order number. When we're ready to pack, we're going to come into order pick and pack, pop our order number in and click go. The system at the moment is configured to allow for dual verification of stock. This is very useful if you've got split picking and packing teams. It means that you've got no chance of mistake as the order is handed over between your 2 teams. You can either verify the products by scanning the barcodes, or you can manually verify by clicking the buttons on the right-hand side. Again, you've got the pictures of the products displaying here for ease of verification. So let's just verify this order. As we click through, you see that we get validation alerts. This is reminding me that I've not picked this on a mobile scanner, and just to be extra vigilant as I check through the details. A lot of things in Mintsoft, like that warning, can be disabled to optimize your workflow if necessary. As we complete the verification, we're brought through to our Scan Actions page. This is the dispatch page where you'll create your shipping labels. You can edit details around the order if anything's changed, and then you can also dispatch the order. On dispatch, the order will send the dispatch status and the tracking number back up to Magento. Your customers will then be able to view this and keep a track on their delivery. Some of the information that you can change on this screen: you can obviously alter the shipment if you needed to. Now, this has obviously been specified by the GFS checkout process, so we're going to leave that well alone in this case. You can update the parcel weight if you've added any heavy packaging. That may change the weights required. You can also change the number of parcels if you find that everything won't fit into one box. You can add updated delivery instructions. You can manually add tracking numbers if required. You can request further order documentation, such as commercial invoices, if you need these. And if you're the client of a 3PL, you could also raise a query around an order, which could then be responded to by a member of staff in the 3PL's team. Once you're happy with all of your setup and you know you've got the right information in place, you can move on to create your shipment. With the integration to GFS made, this is as easy as clicking the green Create Shipment button. And we can then see that the label has generated. Clicking Download will bring us up to the DHL label. If we wanted to finalize the process in Mintsoft, we would simply click the Dispatch button from here. That will then trigger the update back to Magento with any of the tracking details. You can perform several optimizations with this process, so you could have the system set to auto-dispatch orders once a successful courier shipment has been created. This gives you a very clean flow through, and you can actually dispatch an order within a couple of clicks. I'm just going to hand back over to Phil now to just talk through the label that's been generated, and he'll be able to talk you through the different elements that have made this up. Back to you, Phil.
Thanks, Luke. Just to provide some additional details in relation to the carrier label that we have on screen here. The label which has been created for this shipment to France is for DHL Express on their WPX service. All non-domestic shipments via GFS, for example, this shipment to France, customs details are transferred electronically to the carrier, which means the carriers, in particular DHL Express, refer to as paperless trade. This means that all customs data is passed electronically, including HS codes, countries of manufacture, shipper and/or receiver AOI numbers and IOSS numbers. This takes away the need for manually having to produce documentation for shipments and is a seamless process through your OMS, WMS system, either if you were fulfilling orders yourself or via a 3PL. I'll just hand you back to Luke now, who'll talk you through the dispatch process for our domestic shipments.
Thanks, Phil. There's a very similar process for our domestic shipments. We could come into our orders, back to our overview, and we can now see that we've got our every 2-day service that's been selected. So as Phil's highlighted to before, this won't be exchanging any of the customs information. So even if this is held in Mintsoft, and again, we will hold all that information against either the client file for your 3PL clients, we can hold it against the business information you've got if you're working as a multi-channel. And again, we can also bring in details from order source. This will be particularly the harmonized code coming over with products, or it may include a connection-specific IOSS number. For our domestics, though, none of this information is required, so it's just a case of going back through to our pick window. So let's look at another option when we're working with single order. We can just come through from our actions menu here and just click into pick order. This brings us straight back to the validation page you've seen before. We can quickly move through this. And that'll take us back to our scan action screen. It's the exact same process that you've seen, but without the same level of background data exchange. I'm just going to click Create Shipment. We can then print the label, or in this case, download to view on screen. And we can then finalize by dispatching. That should cover both of your processes through Mintsoft using the GFS checkout process. Thanks very much for your time.
So thank you, Phil and Luke, for that demo. That was really enlightening. Coming back to where we left off, how do we need to be rethinking fulfillment and delivery to succeed? Maybe we can just start by summarizing what the 3 key takeaways were that we identified before the demo. So the first thing was that speed and accuracy of fulfillment is a given, but customers expect and demand delivery choice and convenience as well. The second one, if you remember, was optimizing and scaling fulfillment and delivery is vital for budget control and customer satisfaction. And the last one was that planning and forecasting delivery requirements is more difficult than ever. So building flexibility and contingency into the final mile is an absolute must. So where does that lead to, Luke, for tips on what we should be looking for, taking into account those key takeaways?
So really, I think, Bobby, it's looking at a combined solution. There's not really just one part of the puzzle here, which is obviously why we're doing this amazing webinar together. But really, as you track your customer journey through from start to finish, you're going to be looking for speed and efficiency. So we've already called that out a couple of times. You're going to want some good cross-border shipping know-how. So making sure you're exchanging the right information, or when working with GFS, their great paperless trade system. You're going to want a really wide choice of delivery options in order to satisfy your customers and make sure that they've got the method they want to get their products to them. You need to make sure that you've got agility and resilience in your solutions, so that as your business scales, as your business meets the current demands of the market, you're able to grow with that. And you're going to make sure that you've got budget control through a simplified multi-carrier approach. You can easily see the pricing information against all the shipments that you have available to you. I think if you've got all those things in place, you're starting to look at a really robust system that will work with you and your customers to give you the best performance possible.
Absolutely, Luke. And yes, one option is to look at what we've presented today, which is how bringing together the Mintsoft platform and GFS multi-carrier services and our technology might be one way of doing that.
Yeah, so I mean, we can give a bit of an overview. So we saw a very brief a snippet of Mintsoft in the demo there. That's by no means exhaustive. But what we're really trying to do here is allow you to grow and take a lot of the legwork out of running your business. So you can very easily expand your sales channels without adding a lot of manual admin. You can sync from a single source of inventory to all of your different marketplaces if you need to, so that you know that you're selling stuff that you've got and you can fulfill, you can meet your SLAs. You can process and fulfill your orders efficiently and accuracy. So you've got automation in there to help with the process. You've got traceability there as well. You've got a choice of 80 plus carriers within the Mintsoft system. The API integration with GFS is very, very seamless. So it's a really great solution to look at. And this really lets you fulfill in the UK and also ship cross-border and globally with absolute ease, which again, in the changing market today, your customers may not just be domestic anymore. You may be reaching out to a global market, and a solution like this will really save you time and make sure you're exchanging the right information to past customers as you move your shipments into different countries.
Absolutely. And it's not just taking into account the different shipping requirements and customs compliance processes, paperwork, documentation, whatever, for each of those markets, but also delivery is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Just as you have to tailor your sales and marketing for different customers in different markets, similarly, you have to tailor your delivery because customers in different markets have different preferences for how they would like to have their parcels delivered to them.
Completely agree there, Bobby.
So that brings us on to GFS Managed Multi-Carrier Services, the other side of the puzzle. So you would have seen how with GFS Checkout, it allows you to offer much greater delivery choice and convenience for customers. So that is a technology that not only takes care of duties and taxes calculations, but also is pre-configured with 1,000 plus shipping services covering 220 plus destinations, UK and global. And like I said before, gives you access to the widest network of click and collect locations. So that is the GFS technology, but of course we also provide the physical services behind that. So that enables you to satisfy that consumer who wants to have the widest delivery choice and convenience when they get to that checkout. We can help you protect your budget as well, because with our buying power, that gives us access to some really good competitive rates, which you may or may not have access to today. So we help protect your budget by giving you access to preferential competitive pricing. But also, like we talked about earlier, in uncertain times, you want to get some certainty around your budget and your costs. So we can help fix your delivery costs for 12 months. That's provided you ship to profile, of course. And we can also provide you with services through GFS International, our very own services, where we can absolutely promise there will be no surcharges at all. So the price is the price that you're given. On top of that, you get our proactive support and expertise. So shipping to different markets, as we've already know, cross-border shipping is really complex and it's changing all the time. So trying to keep on top of that is no mean feat. But we can, that's what we do. So we can provide you with the international shipping knowledge and expertise when you need it. On top of that, when it comes to peak, we can help protect peak for you, making sure you have your peak plans for capacity that you're going to need and delivery that you'll need over peak. Make sure those are robust and handed in to by the required deadlines. But also, when things go wrong or not according to plan, as they always do during peak, we can certainly provide the contingency to step in and help you recover from whatever situation is thrown at you. And finally, we can simplify multi-carrier management, not only through our technology, but primarily through our one multi-carrier partner to access all your carrier services with only one technology integration, as you've seen in this situation, integrating with Mintsoft, but also integrating with your e-commerce platform, and one customer care team to help resolve issues regardless of carrier.
So let's talk about the exclusive offer. So to all the attendees of today's webinar, both GFS and Mintsoft will be offering audits. So we can do a delivery audit for you and a fulfillment audit. And then, of course, we'll share those results with you. So, Bobby, do you want to talk through the delivery side?
Absolutely. So what's the delivery audit? Well, we'll come on site. It's important that this is an on-site meeting. But what we're going to be looking at is understanding what your shipping profile is today, UK and international. We're also going to be looking at your range of delivery options and carrier mix, looking at performance metrics, dispatch systems and data flow, the packaging, how you're packaging your goods, how you're presenting those goods to freight, collections, your collection times and plans, peak planning and contingency, understanding where you are with those plans and how confident you are that you've got a plan B in place when you need it. And not only looking at what your current requirements are, but also taking into account what your future requirements are. So that gives us a pretty strong overview of everything around your delivery, your operations, your strategy, everything. So that we can really analyze and find gaps where we can then come back and present you with what those findings were, but also what our recommendations are so that you can optimize your multi-carrier delivery. And that comes with advice and expertise that's tailored exactly for your business. What about the fulfillment audit then, Luke?
So it's very similar, really, Bobby. So we will come out to you on site and we'll have a look at your sales channels and order sources to see how you're bringing your orders into the system. We'll look at your order management, your workflow efficiency. We'll look at how you're syncing your stock and inventory, not only across your order channels, but around your warehouse as well. We'll look at your warehouse layout and your optimized pick routes. And then we'll look at your barcode scanning and printing process and we'll search for some optimizations there for you as well. Similarly, we'll give you a full report then so that you can see a full review of your order management setup and any opportunities and risks that are available. We can also help you with a roadmap to expand your sales channels. And we can also help with technology tips to help you drive efficiency and accuracy through automation. This might be moving to mobile scanners, for example.
Thanks, Luke. So that was a quick taster of what you'll get from a delivery audit and a fulfillment audit. But how do you get it? Well, after the webinar, look out for the email that's going to be sent to you. You click on the link within the email for request an audit, complete the form to clarify whether your area of interest is delivery, fulfillment, or both, and then submit that to us. And very importantly, make sure you've included your direct telephone number in there, because what we will then do is call you to book a date and time to come on site, come to you and do those audits. And please make sure you do it before the deadline. So this offer is only available for submissions received by 19th of August cutoff. Okay, so look out for the webinar, for the email after the webinar, and submit your request for an audit.
So that brings us on to time for a quick Q&A. So I'm just going to open up the chat box this side and see what we've got coming through. Right, so we seem to have a question on cross-border shipping. So how automated is the process to exchange the right information with carriers? Okay, so talking this one through from a Mintsoft perspective, we obviously hold all of the key information that you'll need to ship cross-border within the system. So you might have an IORI number if you're shipping from the UK over to Ireland. You might be using the IOSS system if you're shipping over to Europe. You may be shipping via VAT or using duty paid services. The way that the system is set up in Mintsoft is it actually makes a lot of these calculations for you. So it looks at the value of the order, it looks at the order destination, and it looks at the pickup point as well. And it will make the right decision on which information to share over with GFS. So it really does mean that it's as slimmed down and as streamlined as we can possibly make it. Is there one on there for you? Yeah, Bobby, it looks like there's a couple coming through.
Yes, Luke, I can see. Oh, this is a good one. Yes. How many delivery options should you offer? Well, there's only one rule as far as GFS is concerned, and from our experience, we'd say provide your customers with the widest option of delivery services as possible. And there's a simple reason for that, in that consumers are looking for convenience, but what may be convenient for them today may not be convenient for them tomorrow based on their circumstances. So, for example, today I'm in no rush, I place an order. I don't care about free delivery or next day delivery. I just want to get my parcel on a good service. So I opt for standard service. However, tomorrow it's my husband's birthday, and what I want to do is place an order today, and I want to guarantee that it's going to turn up before 10 o'clock the following morning. Now, if you don't offer me that option, then guess what? I'm going to go and shop elsewhere. So there's no hard and fast rule as to how many options you should offer. From our perspective, the answer is give your customers the widest choice of delivery services possible and let them choose what's going to be most convenient for them. One for you, Luke?
Yeah, so I'm just having a quick look through, Bobby.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so you've spoken a lot about scalability over the course of this webinar. Can you provide some further information about how you can support our growth? So yeah, of course I can. So the first key one within Mintsoft itself, of course, is just the ease of integration. So when you start working with a new customer, we've got pretty much all of the top e-commerce stores, top couriers included in there as standard integrations. So there's no long process. It's all standardized in the system. So it's just a case of pulling through the connection details that you need, be that an API key or be that a username and password. So you can get up and running very, very quickly. The other side of the puzzle actually comes through Access Workspace. So Mintsoft is obviously an Access company. Workspace is our platform for merging multiple tools and products into one environment where you can get everything you need from one login. So you've got single sign-on through most of our top bits of software. But from the Mintsoft perspective, you can actually use this to really help you with your expandability, your scalability, and your speed of reaction. So we've got analytics on there. So you've got business insights that you can pull data from. You've got access to LMS training. So if you bring on temporary staff, you can very, very easily get these guys up to speed so they can work within the system. We're talking a matter of hours, where with some competitors, you see days of training are required. So we really have put everything that we can do in place to mean that you guys are capable of going from 1 to 100 mile an hour, just like that. Anything else on there for you, Bobby? Looks like we've got quite a few coming through.
Yep, I can see one there around peak, actually. That's interesting. What advice would you give for peak planning this year? Well, there's so much uncertainty, and like we've discussed earlier, there's so much uncertainty. Which way is consumer confidence going to go? Going to go? Are they going to be buying or not? But the advice we'd give every year stays the same when it comes to peak: is make sure that you do your planning and forecasting, because if you don't, failing to plan is planning to fail. The old saying. But also make sure that you've got that contingency in place so that when things don't go according to plan, or when the unexpected happens, as it always will, make sure that you have an absolute solid plan B in place so that you can recover quickly from whatever situation is thrown at you, whether that is, can't get the carrier can't get to your warehouse because there's bad weather and the lorry can't come up the steep drive, or whatever the situation may be. So do your planning and your forecasting, so your peak plans, but also make sure that you've got a solid contingency and plan B behind that.
Really great advice there, Bobby.
Yeah. I think we are done with questions, to be honest with you, Luke, because we're running out of time.
Okay.
So remember, guys, please look out for the email after the webinar. Make sure you take advantage of that offer to request your delivery and fulfillment audit before the 19th of August. That's really important. And thank you for joining us today. I'm really grateful that you've given us the time. And Luke, I've loved doing this with you. Thank you very much.
It was so much fun, Bobby. And yeah, just to echo that, thank you so much, everybody, for attending today. It's been great to have you on board, and we hope to meet a few of you soon at trade shows in your warehouses, and just learn a bit more about you and your operations.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Bye.